Okay, hello people. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm continuing on with Radical Dreamers. I'm really gonna try and finish it tonight. I mean, the game can't be that long. And I played about, I don't know, I think 3 hours? Almost 3 hours. Because I can save now and it tells me. Okay, just under 3 hours. I mean, the game can't be that long due to the type of game it is. I mean, it's just like this visual novel choosing to go like left or right. Although fighting those goblins took me a really long time last night. And that was really hard just because like there's no strategy. Like you just choose to dodge or attack and you just have to hope it works out because it's just like a percentage of whether it works out or not. It's just random. But we got through that fight. Okay. Need to sit up a little more. Okay, there we go. All right, so last night we found the kitchen and there was a mouse in a mouse trap that I freed because I thought I was doing a good thing, and then it turned into a griffin, and I thought we were going to get into a fight, not necessarily a boss fight, but a fight. Turns out the griffin was too hungry to even fight, so it told me, it was like, hey, just let me go and I'll give you some information, and which reminds me I have to open that note up again. So I wrote down what he told me, which he said if you find yourself in one of Lynx's snares, turn right 3 times, left 2 times, and then right 2 times. So I'm gonna keep that note open. I don't know when I'm gonna need that, but I'm gonna keep it open. And then we met the nice goblin. We went into the guard room and met a goblin guard that wasn't like the others. He was a nice one, and he's just sitting there like reading a book and gave us a key to the dungeon that we couldn't get into. And that is where we ended. So the way to the right ended at a staircase going up. The corridor also continued directly ahead, but the way was completely enshrouded in darkness. Okay, so I think we have to go. Okay, you know what? Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything. So let's go towards the kitchen. Okay, so this is the kitchen. You know what? I'm gonna go inside actually because I'm wondering if I can eat the stew again. We'd been to this kitchen before. The mouse was gone, and so were the contents of the soup pot. Okay, so I can't eat the soup again. That healed me. So I'm wondering if I didn't take the heal the first time. Because you can refuse. Like, Kid tells you to eat the soup and you can refuse. But I'm wondering if you don't take it, if it's still going to be gone. Because, like, there was another chance I had to heal earlier in the game and I didn't take it. And then, but it doesn't, like, save it for you. Like, you can't go back into that room and get the heal if you don't take it the first time. There wasn't anything left for us here. We left. I mean, this is like a really weird looking kitchen, isn't it? The corridor stretched off to the right from the kitchen. We retraced our steps. Leaving the room behind us, we took a right turn down the corridor. We followed it for a while before coming to an intersection. The way to the left ended at a staircase going up. The corridor also continued directly ahead, but the way was completely enshrouded in darkness. Okay, so if I... Wait a minute. Wasn't I just at a staircase? So, okay, let me go towards the guard room again. Okay, here's the guard room. I forgot what happened if you go inside. I mean, I already talked to the goblin, but I forgot what happens if you come inside and talk to him again. Oh, hello again. Griswold gave a slight bow of welcome. I look forward to hearing the tale of your exploits tonight. Instead of sitting around on your arse wing hear other people's stories, why don't you get out there and make a couple of your own? His only response was to chuckle with wry amusement, and with that we left the room. Okay. I mean, maybe, you know, maybe he doesn't want to make his own stories, Kid. Maybe he just likes to sit back and hear about others. Kid stopped in her track, signaling to us with a hand behind her back. She drew her knife and stared into the darkness. Okay, so this is a random encounter, which I was very surprised to hear that there our random encounters in this game. We heard the clinking of metal from just up ahead, goblin guards. It wasn't likely there'd be anyone else for a nighttime stroll around the manor wearing armor. Suggested tactical retreat. I drew my knife and readied myself. Okay, so I've run into this before, and like trying to run away like doesn't work, so I guess we'll just attack. I picked up on the situation pretty quickly and drew my knife, preparing for a fight. Kid gave me a sideways glance. You know something? You're starting to look like a real thief. Now you just need to walk the walk, she grinned. Alright, Serge, Magil, let's get him. Kid leapt forward, confident as ever. It was like she thought nothing could go wrong. There were 5 of them in total. What? I have to fight 5 of them? We weren't any ordinary goblins, though. Having been well looked after in this palatial manor, they'd grown to be even bigger than Magil. So this is like the fight I had to do in the treasure room. Each of them was carrying the manor goblin's trademark, a morning star consisting of a rod and a heavy spiked iron ball on a chain. Wait, or is it a flail? And I never could remember, and I didn't have time to think much more about it. Jump back. The iron ball crashed into the stone tile I was standing on only moments before crushing it. Had I tried to stop it with my knife, I would have been lucky to escape with a fractured skull. Back of the weapon hand. Plunged my knife through. Having missed me, the goblin lost its balance. I plunged my knife through the back of its weapon hand. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to read out all of these because they give you a time limit. Okay. Hit his heart. My knife sank to the hilt in the creature's chest. I thought it was all over, but just then, something hit me hard in the stomach, sending me flying. The goblin leered at me as it drew up to its full height. My knife was still buried deep in its chest, and thick drops of blood fell to the floor. How could it have survived, much less still be standing? A sense of terror came over me, and then the goblin took a step forward. Suddenly, its giant frame wobbled. It fell to one knee and then sank to the floor. Exhausted, I panted for breath. Finally got a notch in your belt, eh? Taunted Kid, coming to my side. I wanted to say something, but I was too exhausted. Woo, I'd taken a few knocks, but I was alright. A scrape or 2 wouldn't stop me. Okay, so wait a minute. There were 5 goblins, but I only fought 1. I guess Kid and Magil took care of the other ones. Well, that was another fine bloody mess. What did we even bring you for, Serge? How is that my fault? This is a random encounter. Kid's cold stare pierced through me like a javelin made of ice. Kid is so rude in this game. Like, she's so bad. Like, yeah, she's kind of mean in Chrono Cross, but she's still, like, likable. I guess that's why they changed her. Okay, so we went right. Because going to the stairs is the only place we can go now. The passage soon ended at the foot of some stairs. With Kid taking the lead, we started to climb the narrow staircase. When we reached the top, we found ourselves at the end of a long straight corridor. We continued on. We followed the corridor, eventually reaching a fork in the path. The path to the left would take us back to the atrium with the fountain. Going on straight would take us to the old, sturdy door. Okay, so, well, we need to get to the dungeon. So, go straight on towards the cell. We continue down the corridor, eventually reaching an old, rather sturdy-looking door. Right, the key we got from that creepy old goblin should do the trick. Kid slipped the key into the lock. The heavy door groaned slightly as it slowly swung open. Clammy air rose up around our feet as if crawling blindly through the darkness. This didn't seem like the kind of place anyone in their right mind would visit voluntarily. Well, I mean, yeah, it's a dungeon. We pushed the heavy iron door the rest of the way open and stepped into the darkness. There was a row of cells all locked behind iron bars. 1, 2... Oh, Gulliver, Melgid, Zoronda. Forgive me, please. Please, forgive me. We heard a voice from the third cell, whimpering and crying pathetically. I strained my eyes to look inside. Faintly, in the darkness, I could see something that looked like a man sitting on the floor. So this was the source of the voice. Oi, you alright, mate? Kid called out to the figure. Oh, that looks like Radius from Chrono or Balthazar. Forgive me, it's all my fault. It's my fault. The dragoons never deserved this. Oh, that is Balthazar then. General, Lady Riddle, oh, forgive me, I beg of you. The old man didn't seem to respond to us at all. He only sat facing the wall, begging forgiveness for who knew what. Hello, can you hear me? Asked Kid, trying again. There'll be no getting through to him. His real self will have long since retreated inside the shell he has created, said Magil, cutting her off. I mean, how do you know? Shell? What do you mean? He has built a shell around the core of his psyche in order to shield himself from the truth. He is running from something terrible. He has seen something, or been through something, or has done something. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, that's all the possibilities. And so he has created his own world on the inside as a final refuge, the outside world lost to him forevermore. I looked at Magil in surprise. I had detected a hint of unspoken sadness in his words. Okay, this is starting to sound more and more like this is Magus. Because that sounds like, what Magus did with himself. And for some reason, he was looking at Kid. So, wait a minute. Is it Magus and he knows Kid is Scala? But at this point in the game, I don't know if they made Kid Scala's clone, because this game came first, and then they made Chrono Cross. They took inspiration from this game, and that's why it's not, exactly the same. Watching over her as she stared at the man in the cell. Seeming to notice my gaze, Magil turned back to face me, assuming his usual emotionless expression once more. We live in a world of sorrow and foolishness. It's only inevitable that some would try to escape it. But despite his hard words, his eyes retained a certain softness, his steely gaze giving way to a gentle light. You understand? I think so. Can you be a bit more specific? I think I understand. I gave a slightly evasive answer. You seem confused. I don't blame you. You'll come to understand eventually. Okay, I feel like he would have answered the same thing no matter what I said. Magil looked at me and Kid. Question mark? What was that all about, I wondered. We're not gonna get much out of him. He's miles away. Let's just leave him be and try someplace else. Kid made for the door of the dungeon. Wait, called Magil. We must find some way to get this man to speak. What for? I mean, he's speaking already, just none of it makes sense. What are you after? I mean, it makes sense to him. He's just talking about people we don't know. Some things he said piqued my curiosity. He mentioned the dragoons, and Riddle, too. So, you said the dragoons are ancient history, snapped Kid. Besides, how can we trust anything he says? He's clearly gone off his rocker. She had a point. The old man had long since cut his ties to the real world. What did Magil expect him to say? Without missing a beat, Magil replied, we simply have to bring him back to reality. And how are we going to do that? You want me to do a little dance for him or something? See if that gets his motor going? What? No. Please don't. Yeah, please don't. No, please don't do that. The words were out of my mouth before I could stop them. What are you saying? Her eyes narrowed threateningly. Okay, so Kid in this game, she takes everything so personally, immediately. And she's so rude all the time. She blames Serge for everything, even stuff that's not his fault. And he's too afraid to even say anything to her. He's too afraid to even be oh, that's not my fault, because then she'll, punch him or kick him or something. Serge is in, an abusive relationship right now. But I think he likes Kid. They're not together, from my understanding, but I think he likes Kid, and I think Kid also likes him, and is just, covering it up. I mean, I think they're just doing it for, comedic effect, oh, it's funny, because, she hits him, or something. I don't know. You don't think anyone want to see me dance is at it. See, like, why is that your takeaway from this? Like, why is that what you got out of this conversation? What? No, I completely the opposite. In fact, actually, ignore me. And then, see, Surge always does this. He always gives in to Kid. Now, this should be good. Enlighten me, why don't you? He's right, it won't work. And just like that, Kid's fist was flying towards Magel's face instead of mine. He dodged the blow with ease and carried on as if nothing had happened. We must break through the shell he has created and drag him back to the real world. What? So Kid tries to punch Magel and he just dodges it and he's just like, yeah, it's fine. Like, maybe be like, hey, like, you shouldn't do that to people. And in order to do that, we will need some kind of key. Something that will reach him even through the barrier he has erected. Okay, so there is much more to this game than I expected. Yeah, and where are we going to find this key? Asked Kid suspiciously. I don't know, came Magel's simple reply. But there is someone in this manor who can tell us. You don't mean you're not talking about Riddle, are you? I am, Magel replied with a nod. Alright, fine. Don't know what the heck you expect her to tell us, though. Kid turned on her heel and made for the door. We left the gibbering old man in the dungeon, alone with his sorrow. Gibbering? Gibbering? I'm not sure. I'll have to look that up. So we have to go back to Riddle's room, I'm assuming. I mean, I'm guessing that's where she'll be. That's very logical, that she would be in her room. I followed Kid and Magel back out into the corridor. After making our way down the dark corridor, we came to a branch in the path. The path to the right would take us back to the atrium with the fountain. Going straight on would take us to some stairs going down. So we have to go right. And then I think up some more stairs. No, wait. Because Riddle's room and Lynx's room were downstairs. So I think we have to go right. The corridor was dark and clammy. We pressed on, and soon the entrance to the atrium came into view. So yeah, I think it's on the other side of the atrium, if I remember correctly. So the first time we got to the atrium, it flooded with a bunch of piranhas that were attacking us, and there was an exit on the other side, but we couldn't get there. And then when I came back to the atrium with the hand-shaped plate, and I put it in the mouth of Truth's mouth, and then the atrium drained, and we could get to the other side. So that's where we came through. So we have to go back through the atrium, and then Riddle's room is right on the other side. We arrived back in the atrium. An exit leading to Lynx's and Riddle rooms gaped ominously from across the cavernous space. Yeah, so I was right. So yeah, Lynx's and Riddle's rooms are right across from the atrium, or down the hallway from the atrium. We continued on. A scream pierced the darkness, turning my blood to ice. I realized then that a pair of crazed, blood-red eyes was staring into the depths of my soul. It was a griffin. How did a griffin get in here? Like it's a giant bird. In a panic, I tried to slip the knife from my belt, but before I could draw my weapon, the griffin had spread its powerful wings and swooped toward me with an almighty screech. Okay, so I fought a couple of griffins before, and usually dodging them works. Okay, he already hit me. Oh my god. A fly just landed on my nose. I was knocked back and sent rolling across the ground. I gasped with pain as the wind was knocked out of me. Sir, you okay? Every nerve in my body was screaming with pain. I held back the groans and staggered to my feet. I looked up to see the massive griffin in front of me. Its hellish red eyes stared down its beak. It was going to attack. What could I do? Duck. Almost by reflex, I ducked the attack. The griffin's talons raked through the air, plunging toward me. Okay, that one didn't work. Arg! A blast of pain shot through my head. Clutching at the wound, I did my best to regain my footing and turned to face the griffin again. As the beast's mad red eyes glared at me, I desperately tightened my grip on my knife. I attacked. Attack. I reversed my grip on my knife and plunged it into the griffin's neck with all my might. Okay, where are Kid and Madrill in this? Why are they not helping me? Because as far as I'm aware, there is only one enemy here. Brock! The griffin's body contorted with agony. Driven mad with rage, the griffin shook its head this way and that. I quickly pulled my knife out from its neck and rolled away to put some space between us. I quickly got back to my feet and readied myself to attack again. As the beast's mad red eyes glared at me, I desperately tightened my grip on my knife. Attack again. Okay, got him again. Don't move, Surge, yelled Kid from behind me. Suddenly, she landed on my shoulders, then leapt up into the air. Crack! Her knee crashed into the side of the creature's skull, making a crunching sound I could feel in my bones. The griffin screeched in agony. The griffin stiffened, suddenly becoming completely rigid. Its eyes rolled into the back of its head, and it fell to the ground with an almighty crash. We'd done it! We'd actually managed to defeat a griffin. More like Kid had managed to defeat a griffin. Okay, this is what this said last time I fought a griffin, and I was really mad because Kid did one attack, and I did the rest, but Surge gives Kid the credit. Like, I don't understand. Why is he giving Kid the credit? And this is, like, inside his head. So, like, even inside his head, he is still giving Kid the credit when I did everything, and she only did the last move. Phew, I fell to my knees, overwhelmed by what I'd just been through, but glad it was all over. I was starting to feel a little worse for wear. I was going to have to be more careful from now on, or this was going to end badly. Okay, so I'm injured, so I'm gonna have to find another heal. Maybe he ain't such a drongo after all. Just goes to show any old weirdo can make something of themselves if they put their mind to it. Kid's eyes glinted with mischief. Okay, so I do think that the heals in this game don't make any sense, because I was in the kitchen, right? So when I first got to the area I just left, I went to the kitchen first, and there was a heal in there. You can heal by eating the soup. And then right next door is the guard room, so you can go in the guard room, and you can drink the tea that the goblin gives you, and that's another heal. And I'm like, but why? I mean, I guess if you refuse the soup the first time, then you get another chance to heal yourselves by drinking the tea. But I'm like, they're not spaced out at all. Like, I don't even know where to get another heal now. Okay, I guess I'll save then, because I'm about to die. Okay, so we have to keep going straight. So this is Riddle's room. Okay, go inside Riddle's room. We found ourselves in a tidy, welcoming room. The knickknacks and curios dotted around the place seemed to be well loved. The stately desk and the cozy-looking bed nearby, meanwhile, suggested the room's occupant was no stranger to luxury. Though the room was richly furnished, somehow it still felt awfully lonely. "Is someone there?" came the voice of a young woman. We shrank into the shadows. The woman appeared from deeper within the room. She was lightly made up and had a gentle, unthreatening air about her. It was Lynx's daughter. Strange, I'm sure I heard someone. I like how Surge was like, oh, it was Lynx's daughter! Oh my god! Like, that's who we were looking for. That's why we came into the room. Strange, I'm sure I heard someone. I was at a loss as to what to do for a moment, but before I had had much time to do much more than hold my breath, Kid had already darted over and thrust her knife out, stopping the blade only a hair's breadth from the woman's neck. "Where's the frozen flame? Answer me!" Her voice came out in a harsh growl. I rushed in to hold Kid back before she hurt the poor woman. "Kid, do we really have to do it this way? Shut your trap, Surge." Riddle couldn't help but giggle as she watched us bickering. "What are you laughing at?" Kid shot Riddle a harsh look. "It's just, you don't seem like thieves at all." Oh boy. Kid's not gonna take that well. You want me to cut you, girl?" I'd be surprised if that knife could cut anything." For a moment I felt faint, imagining Riddle on the floor covered in blood. But then, clang! Kid had thrown her knife to the floor, and I saw that it was only a letter opener. I didn't think you'd notice. Whatever, I'm not here to mess around killing the likes of you anyway. It's funny, too, because I had Riddle and Kid when I beat Chrono Cross. They were in my final party. So it's kind of funny to like see them here too. I have no desire for bloodshed either, said Riddle in a voice that was almost a whisper. I am not your enemy. In fact, I want to help you. There wasn't a hint of hesitation or deception in her voice. Well, how do you know, though? Like, some people are just really good liars. Let me guess, you're trapped in the manor too? Riddle only lowered her eyes sadly in response to Kid's question. The frozen flame should never have been allowed to fall into Lynx's hands. So this makes me wonder if Lynx is still this like a demi-human in this. Riddle spoke quietly, but deep emotion clearly underpinned her words. The flame was once the property of an ancient kingdom to the north, who kept it for generations. It was said to have the uncanny power to guide people and change history itself. Ancient kingdom to the north. I wonder if they were talking about Guardia? After the kingdom fell, the flame changed hands countless times, until eventually it came into my father's possession. That was before I was born. Sometime later, Lynx became aware of the flame's true value, and approached my father under false pretenses of friendship. Not a soul suspected what his true intentions were. And then, on that horrible day, he destroyed everything. He killed everything. Okay, so similar to what happened in Chrono Cross. Riddle shook her head, then buried her face in her hands. I don't care about the frozen flame. I don't care about the stupid accursed stone. It means nothing to me. I just want to take it away from Lynx and smash it to pieces right in front of him. Okay, I'm a little confused though. Like, so if Lynx's whole plan was to betray Viper, then why did he take Riddle? Like, why is he taking care of Riddle? Like, he gave her like a nice, like, room, like a nice place to live. And they know her, like, Surge, Kid, and Magil know her as, like, Lynx's adopted daughter. And only we can make that happen. Riddle looked up with surprise as Magil spoke. No one else in the world can seize that jewel from Lynx. Riddle stared speechlessly. And then, in a low voice, she whispered, "What can I do to help you?" Lynx in this game is worse than Lynx in Chrono Cross. We will see. Lynx in Chrono Cross was pretty bad. Also, hello, Ricardo. How are you doing? Thank you so much for coming in. Alright, so, Ricardo, I downloaded my stream from last night, and I am gonna put together like a little clip of my reaction to finding out that I could save. Because I didn't, so I wanted to like do the clipping myself instead of just like, I know Streamlabs has like a little clipping feature, and I have it set to do the last 60 seconds, but there's some stuff I wanted to like cut out of there. But my initial reaction definitely was really good. There's a survivor of the Acacia Dragoons in the dungeon who we want to help. And if we're to help him, we need your help, said Magil, taking a step forward. Okay, a survivor of the Acacia Dragoon, so that is Radius. What? That man is a traitor. It's because of him that Zoronda... I wonder if Zoronda became Zoa in Chrono Cross. Please, that's the only way. Riddle turned her back to us and hung her head low. The Chamber of Death. There might be something to bring him back to his senses there. The Chamber of Death. Great. That sounds like somewhere I want to go. So that's Riddle, huh? She looks totally different than in Chrono Cross. She looks more like Scala. Probably because he wants Viper to know that she is alive, but she is kidnapped. Oh boy. Maybe. That'd be really dark. That would be worse than Lynx in Chrono Cross. But I mean, I guess at least like while she's here, if that is why, at least while she's here, like she's not like a slave, you know? She's got like her own room. It's really nice. After all, it was there that he chose to abandon his pride, his life. I assume the Chamber of Death must be the cell with the trap ceiling. Oh. Well, I've been there already. That was the room I went into where the ceiling fell on us, but we escaped. But it went through the floor where the acacia signet was. But they wouldn't let me back in there. Riddle nodded. Yeah, that's gonna be a problem, started Kid. That thing damn near killed us last time. Killed us the last time. I wonder if I had to go in there. Or, well, no, I didn't. I don't think anything changed. So I wonder if I never went in there, what would have happened. You will need to take the Einlanzer with you. It is a sacred sword said to have been forged by an ancient sage and a sister blade to the Crimson Cursed Massimune. Oh, was that the sword in the storage room that Kid picked up the first time and the Magil made her put it back? It would be cool to edit a video of first your stream in the part where you lost and later put the part where you found out you could save. Yeah, I could do that too. And that's definitely doable because it wouldn't be that long. Because, so, you know what I used to do when I was on Twitch? Is I would have to download my entire stream, so like an entire 4-hour stream, and then watch the whole thing back again to find clips, so I could, like, post them as TikToks and, like, shorts and stuff. So at least I won't have to do that, because I could just take the end of my first stream where I died, and then, like, last night's stream at the very beginning is when I found out I could save, so that would be pretty easy to do. Good idea, Ricardo. I think I will do that when I do my little clip of me finding out I could save. Because I'm gonna do like a quick clip of like just my first initial reaction when I found out I could save, and I was just like, oh! And I'm gonna make that like a short in a TikTok. The timeless blessings of the Einlanzer will surely keep you safe from the Chamber of Death's wickedness. It used to be such a sight to see it in the hands of Zoronda. It danced like the wind, shone like the stars, and struck like lightning. Lost again in memories of fonder times, Riddle once more bowed her head. Forgive me, I have little more to tell you. You've told us more than enough. We'll take our leave now, said Magil, turning and making for the door. You know what Riddle's character design reminds me of here? Or who, I should say. I said what? Who Riddle reminds me of? She reminds me of Peach, Princess Peach from Mario. I wish I had the strength to change things like you do, whispered Riddle, biting her lip. Like, I think if they put her in like a pink dress, she would look just like Princess Peach. Kid hesitated for a moment, seemingly deep in thought. It ain't about strength, it's about having a purpose. Something to fight for. I'll be praying for you. Kid shot Riddle a look over her shoulder. Great, maybe you can cross your fingers too. Come on, Kid. Don't be mean. She told us what we needed to know. We left the room. She does look like a teenage version of Peach, right? The passage outside the room continued to our left and right. Going right would take us to Lynx's room. Meanwhile, going left would take us to the atrium and another branch. Okay, so I wonder if I can go back into Riddle's room. Okay, so I'm gonna turn back here. Suddenly, the darkness felt opaque. Is this another random encounter? Something like a thick haze floated in the air in front of us, and then it took form like someone blowing smoke into a person-shaped bottle. Yes, this is another random encounter. Okay, I've had a lot of these lately. Okay, so I'm gonna just skip all this because I've already gone through this. Jump behind Magil. Magil cast me a glance, continuing his incantation without missing a beat, then grabbed me by the scruff of the neck and threw me at the ghost. I emitted a strangled scream of horror that I'd probably never be able to repeat again, and tried to brace myself before I crashed face first into the wall. Okay, so now I remember that Magil used me as a conduit, but the impact I was expecting never came. The core of the ghost, where its face seemed to be, had more substance than the rest of it, and I didn't just slip through it like I thought I would. I oozed through it like I was stuck in some kind of goo. Okay, I'm just gonna skip all this because I've read this before. But I remember that Magil asked me, he asked me something, and the correct answer is to say, like, what? Because then my mind had to, like, be blank for Magil to use me as a conduit. What just happened? Oh, I didn't even have to do that part. Okay. Surge! Oi, Surge, you still with us, mate? Someone is slapping me around the face. Someone who seemed to be enjoying it immensely. Kid, stop it, damn you! I leapt to my feet, wide awake again in an instant. Madge, did you really have to use me like that? When dealing with foes who attack the mind, it is simplest to lure them in with bait, then use their intended prey's consciousness as a conduit in order to make an assault from the astral plane. A direct magical attack would have meant a lengthy battle. A far less elegant solution, he replied without a trace of guilt. Alright, let's keep moving. Kid gave the order to continue, seemingly completely oblivious to my brush with death. Brush with death? I mean, I feel like that's a little dramatic. I was starting to feel a little worse for wear. I was going to have to be more careful from now on, or this was going to end badly. Okay, so I need a heal. But like I've been having these random encounters, but like they're not giving me healing. Hi Chad, hi Rebecca, hey Erin, how are you? Thank you so much for coming in. How was your day? Was Riddle still here? Riddle, she is. Riddle was sitting on the sofa, gazing wistfully at something in her hands. It was an old, faded photograph. She noticed us looking at her and gently beckoned for us to come over. Oh, more stuff is happening here. Is something the matter? She asked politely, gesturing at some seats nearby, inviting us to sit down. It's been very relaxing. How's your day going? It's going good. Thank you so much for asking, Erin. Normal day. I just worked out, had dinner, watched What If. Oh, I had an orthodontist appointment today because I want to get some dental work because like my teeth, if you can see like my teeth, I'll get closer to the camera. If you can see my teeth, they're like really crooked and like kind of like crowded. So I mean I've been needing that dental work for like forever, but like I never got it because like I never got it taken care of as a kid, and then I don't know, just like it was too expensive like when I was an adult, and then I never went back to it. But the price for it now is like, I don't know if it was like I have better insurance or it's this dentist's office or what, but the price is actually pretty good. So I think I'm gonna go ahead with it. I also have some HSA money I can use for it. So, you know what, Erin? You know what I forgot to ask you last time? So, since you are a teacher and you're off for the summer, what are you planning to do this summer? No, Ta. Kid huffed, bluntly refusing the offer. That's rude. You must seek out the Einlanzer. Without it, you will never be able to dispel the curse of the Chamber of Death. Don't need to tell me twice, muttered Kid. Riddle's gentle voice followed. Take care. Kid stopped just before leaving. And then she spoke, her back still to the lady of the manor. You're not helping us just to make the old man suffer even more, are you? What? Does she mean Lynx? Oh no, she means Radius, or whoever that is in the cell. Who put him in the dungeon in the first place, and why? Riddle looked away and said nothing. Fine, keep your trap shut if you want. Just remember, we ain't here to do your dirty work. And you can think twice before you mess us about. I'm looking out for me and me alone. I know, sighed Riddle, her whispered reply vanishing into the night air. We left her to her worries and returned to the corridor. Okay, Kid is being unfair here, because Riddle said something about Zoronda, or whatever his name was, and She didn't go into details, but she was like, "Oh, if it wasn't for him, Zoronda would still be." So I'm assuming the guy in the dungeon, it was his fault that Zoronda died, and like if we know anything about Kid, she holds a grudge. So she would be just as pissed. Okay, we are gonna go. I'm gonna go into Lynx's room and see if there's anything in there. It's never too late to get your teeth fixed. I'm happy that you are able to afford it. I appreciate that, Aaron. Yeah, and that's what the orthodontist said today too. Like he was like, you know, it's best to get it when you're like a preteen, like 12, or like, you know, in your teenage when you're a teenager. That's the best time to get your teeth fixed. But it's like it's never too late. Like you can always get them fixed. That's just the best time to do it, but like the next best time is just like any time you can. I may go to Florida to see a friend and then Ohio to see my mom, so I'm excited. Oh, nice. So I have a friend in that just went to Florida on vacation. He left yesterday, I think. So are you from Ohio? Okay, so let's go into Lynx's room because I'm wondering if there's anything different in here. Because, like, sometimes I don't think there are things that are going to be different, but then I go into the room and it is. Okay, so... No. This is what happened last time we were here. Okay, so we are going to go make our way back to the storage room then and look for that sword. Because I think that's what it was. The sword that kid picked up in the storage room. Okay, so we have to go up. I think we go towards the terrace. So I'm gonna go out to the terrace and talk to Kid and Magil. I'm from Texas, you. My mom moved to Ohio to stay with her mom since my grandfather passed. Oh, okay. That's sweet of your mom to do that. So that's funny, Aaron, that you're from Texas. Where in Texas? Because I live in Texas, but I'm from Boston originally. I moved to Texas in 2010. I mean, if you're not comfortable telling me, don't tell me. So I'm in Dallas. Alright, Serge, you're finally starting to learn how to get your hands dirty, ain't ya? I guess some people can really change. I guess people can really change if they put in the effort. Okay, that's not what she said last time. She said something about, like, having to step it up. She was like, you better step it up or we're leaving you behind, or something rude like that. You seem to be hurt. Don't push yourself. Okay, yeah, that I knew. Okay, so I forgot if I came from the left or right, so I'll just choose right. Prefer Texas or Boston? I prefer living in Texas. I think it's just like you just get a much better quality of life in Texas than you do in Boston or like in the general like northeastern region of the US, because the Northeast is like it's super expensive and it's really cold and everything is just very like old and congested. And so like, you know, back in Boston, I'd be living in like a 100-year-old house that costs twice as much as a brand new house in Texas. You know what I mean? Like your money just goes so much further in Texas. And so it's like it's just like a much better quality of life here. Now, like, and then like I said, it's really cold back home. Like, I mean, it's winter like 6 months of the year in Boston, and like I don't like the cold. And then it's also, everything's just like really crowded because those states are so tiny. Like, everything just has to be crowded together. So it's very congested. There's a lot of traffic. Um, there's just a lot of like you're crammed up next to your neighbors. A lot of people live in like two-family homes, like a duplex. I always call them two-family homes, but they're like duplexes because that's just like the only way. Well, not the only way. People have like single-family homes, but um, it's it's just more affordable to do it that way. But you're just like crammed up against your neighbors. But Boston is still like I have a lot of family left there, and it's a fun place. I just wouldn't want to live there again. And it's very historical, like if you're into that kind of stuff. But I'm not really into history, so I don't like really care. But I do miss the water. I'll say that I do miss the water. I mean, there are parts of Texas that are near the water, but I am not in one of those places. Okay, this is where I want to go, the storage room. Well, it says the clock tower. It looked like this was the way into the clock tower, but that is the storage room. In we go. Kid stilled her breath and reached for the handle. The door wasn't locked. It swung slowly open. The room was completely silent, and there was no sign of life. There it is, our ticket to not get turned into mincemeat. The ancient sword was right where Kid had left it after pulling it out from the pile of junk. I don't know why I said first. I don't know where I saw that in the text. It's not in there. She ran over to where it lay. Looking down at the sword, Madril muttered, two ancient blades, the sacred Einlanzer and the cursed Massamune. What are you on about, Madge? You know something about this Mastermune? Okay, so you know what else I'm a little confused about, and we'll have to look up. Like, so the Massamune in Chrono Cross, that was like an evil sword. But in Chrono Trigger, it's like a good sword. Madril said nothing. Maybe it's just something about like parallel timelines. Or alternate realities or something. Well, it seems to mean something to you. It does. Uh-huh. Something to do with old friends I don't know about? Not exactly. An enemy, then? Not exactly. You're being weird, Madge. Well, whatever. Oi, numbnuts. Grab this thing for me, will ya? Okay, so... the more and more that, like, Madril says stuff and does stuff, it makes me think more and more that he's Magus. The Massamune. In the Poor Invasion, they stole the Massamune and it got corrupted, something like that. Huh, interesting. Okay. I didn't even know that Poor had conquered Bardia until I had watched that video explaining Chrono Cross's story. Because I didn't play the PlayStation version of Chrono Trigger, and I guess that had some extra cutscenes. So I'll have to look that up. I was still standing by the doorway when Kid called over to me. Who, me? Yeah, you. Or were you gonna make me lug the bloody thing around the place? I'm just a scrawny little girl, ain't I? Call yourself a gentleman? What? She was gonna carry it around in the first place until Madril told her to leave it. A scrawny little... In whose dark dreams was Kid only a scrawny little girl, I wondered. Suddenly, my thoughts were interrupted by a spinning kick to the chops. Okay, Kid is like really violent. Gah! My body flipped over in the air as sparks flew behind my eyes. What the hell was that for? Kid only humped and looked away. Madril also turned away. I was thoroughly left out in the cold. Pick up the damn sword, Surge. We ain't got all night. Ye gods, she was a nightmare. Sometimes I wonder why you even bother coming along on these little jaunts. What? I'm helping you. Well, like, why did you even let me come along then if you didn't even want me here? Dazed, I stumbled to my feet and sheepishly picked up the sword. But what were we even supposed to do with this tarnished old relic? Yeah, that's a good question. What are we supposed to do with this? Whoa! I nearly fell over. That thing was heavy. Good boy. Right, off to the Chamber of Death. Eyes on the prize, lads. Dragging the sword behind me with one hand and clutching my throbbing head with the other, I followed Kid out of the room toward a place where it sounded like certain doom awaited. I mean, we already activated the trap. Okay, I should probably save. Probably a good time to save. Right? The Nintendo DS version also had those cutscenes, so when I beat Chrono Trigger, I thought Cross would start with Guardia getting invaded, but that never happened in-game. Oh, interesting. I played the DS version of Chrono Trigger, but I don't remember those. Then again, it has been a really long time. Continuing on down the corridor, we came across a rather sturdy-looking door on our left. Okay, that's the treasure room. The corridor ended at the foot of some stairs. With Kid in the lead, we headed upwards. It was dark and the stairwell was narrow. We watched our footing carefully as we climbed. An old sturdy-looking door loomed in the darkness at the top. Okay, this is where I wanted to go. Well, this place is just as creepy as I remember. Lovely, grumbled Kid. Okay, wait a minute. The room is back to where it was. So, I thought that when we left the room last time, the trap in the ceiling, like, crashed through the floor, but I guess not. She was looking at the stains on the wall. The ceiling had been pulled back up, but that was no reason to believe it might not come grinding down again at any moment. Okay, so I guess what we heard was just that, like, it crashed into the floor and then went back up, and that's why there's all these scratches on the floor. Bearing in mind what Riddle had told us the room was called, it definitely wasn't somewhere we wanted to linger. Quickly, hissed Magil before crouching down and examining the ground for clues. Kid and I crouched down too. What were we even looking for, though? What could the old man have left in this room that would help us bring him back to reality? The flagstones of the floor were smeared with the black gooey substance which gave off an odd, rotten aroma. Okay, so the acacia signet, that's what we need. That's what we need for him, right? I'm assuming. I shook my head, trying to drive an uncomfortable thought from my mind. Kid saw me and clearly wasn't doing much better herself. She slowly turned, positioning herself so she was facing away from the stains on the wall. There's no point in thinking like that. I just had to try. But then... Of course. The door slammed shut and the gears ground into life. Hurry, bloody go again. We have to stop it. If we don't deal with the trap, we'll never find what we're looking for. Okay, well, what if we use the sword to just hold it up? Maybe that's why we needed the sword? The ceiling sank lower and lower. We ducked our heads, desperately trying to avoid the blades that jutted out from the bottom. Kid looked at me and screamed, "Use the sword! Use the Einlanzer!" What? How do you use a sword? Plunge into Kid? What? Okay, put it in the ground, and then that'll stop it. Right? I drove the sword into the floor with all my might. A shock ran through the room. Beams of light scattered from the blade, covering the floor and walls, and then racing upward. The ceiling gave an almighty judder, then stopped. Okay, that's not how I was thinking I was gonna stop it with the sword, but that works also. Hey Rebecca, how's the stream tonight? Hey Melbuster, it's going good. How are you? How's your Thursday going? We made it. I sank to the floor helplessly, my heart racing. Hey, what's that? Kid was pointing at a part of the wall. It was where we'd seen the message written in blood. Guess we found what we were looking for. Part of the wall had collapsed, revealing a cavity behind what looked like a piece of solid stone. Inside, I could see something glinting faintly in the darkness. Kid reached in with her fingertips, carefully extracting whatever it was from within. It was a slender ring with a delicately engraved design that looked like overlapping ferns. The ring was adorned with several small rubies in a pattern that resembled a bunch of grapes. The crest of acacia. This must be an acacian signet. That's what I said. That's what we were looking for. Okay, let's save. So I do wonder what would have happened if I chose to, like, put the sword into Kid. Okay, you know what, though? That's what we're gonna do. So, I only saved 5 minutes ago. So I'm gonna see what happens if I made the other choices. I think. Did I get the sword? Okay, really? There's another random encounter right now. There's been a lot more random encounters after I found, or what am I trying to say? After I went through the atrium to the other side and got to the new area, that's when, like, a lot of random attacks happened. Okay, so this has always worked against the skeleton, is, like, I assess the situation and then attack. And that's always defeated it. And I didn't get a heal, of course. Okay. Okay, yeah, so I did get the sword. So I'm just going to try... I think the other choices were put the sword, try to stab the ceiling with the sword, or try to stab Kid. Okay, let's try putting it in the ceiling. Alright, let's see if this legendary sword can smash through the ceiling. I jabbed the Einlanzer upward with all my might. Ka-clang! It pinged hard off the countless blades flashing down from above, throwing me to the floor. Ow! My hands numb from the shock. I haltingly regained my grip on the hilt and forced myself back onto my feet. Okay, let's try Kid now. What was I going to do? Surge! Kid's shriek rang in my ears, and then... Shunk! Okay, the trap hit me. Wow, I died. So I take... Okay, so another hit and I'm dead. Ugh, okay. Okay, let's try that again and see what happens if I try to stab Kid. Okay, so what I mean, I've enjoyed this game a lot, but what I don't like is like the way that you can die. Because there's just like nothing you can do. Like, there's no strategy. You just have to make like choices and hope that it works out, and then they like don't ever give you any heals. At least I figured out how to save, though. Like, could you imagine if I never found out how to save? I don't think I would be playing it right now. Alright, plunge the sword into Kid. Prepare yourself, Kid. You'll pay the price for all the suffering you've caused me. What? I held the Einlanzer aloft and thump crack! I sent flying into the wall by Magil and Kid's double thief punch. You're right there, Surge, said Kid, peering over at me. It seemed the cursed aura of the room momentarily possessed you, added Magil. Did it? I'm not sure if both of you punching me at the same time helped. Sorry about that, just had to make sure our audience knew there'd be trouble if they dared trying that again. What the heck was she talking about? Oh, she's talking to me! She's talking to me. She's like, don't you do that, don't you dare. Don't you do it, player. Don't try to stab me again. Anyways, now's not the bloody time for that. We've gotta do something and fast. I tried to shake away the stars I was seeing and picked up the sword again. Okay, now I'm gonna reload my other game. It's amazing, Rebecca, how the pandemic led to so many possibilities, but this virus outbreak ruined opportunities for me. I had a job offer for a case manager position that would have put me forward a big jump from my last job, which I was upset about with my experiences. This new position, more rewarding and better salary growth, as well as lots of other opportunities. I could easily land nice jobs after being a case manager. Nice. Yeah, I agree. Like, I mean, it's like terrible what the pandemic has done. But also at the same time, I think it's like I don't want to say like done a lot of good, or it sort of has, but it's also like opened up a lot of doors for people. Like, I wouldn't have started doing content creation if I didn't start working from home, and I wouldn't have started working from home if it wasn't for the pandemic. And then I think with other people too, it opened other doors for them. Like a lot of people got laid off because of the pandemic, but a lot of people also like turned to content creation, and some of those people are like extremely successful. Like, content creation like changed their lives. Kid put the ring on her middle finger where it sat uneasily. It didn't seem to be her size. The rubies gave off an eerie glint. Great, let's not spend any more time in here than we have to. We'd managed to foil the trap and retrieve the Acacian signet. I left the Einlanzer where it stood, and we exited the room. With Kid in the lead, we headed downstairs. We went down the stairs and continued straight ahead, eventually coming across a sturdy-looking door on our right. Okay, so what we have to do now is get back to the dungeon and show the signet to the old man, who I think is Radius. But first, I'm going to take a break, and I'll be right back. Okay, let's go back to the dungeon. Now, if I could remember where it was. Okay, so We have to go down the stairs through the atrium. Okay, so we have to go down the stairs. And then to the atrium, so that's to the left. And then through the atrium. Okay, left is towards the dungeon, and then right is towards the stairs going down. So the stairs going down, that's to the kitchen and the guard room. So we don't need to go there. So towards the dungeon. This place again. I hope this was the last time I'd have to come here. Went inside. Having retrieved the Acacian signet, we returned to the old man's cell. As soon as we got there, Magil took a step forward and grabbed onto the bars. They creaked and groaned as he heaved at them, gritting his teeth as he summoned every ounce of his might. Slowly, they bowed apart. What? He bent the bars of the cell? He stepped into the cell through the gap, and Kid and I followed. Okay, if he's that strong, then why am I even doing any, or why are me and Kid even doing, like, any of the fighting? He should just handle all of it. The old man was exactly as we had left him, staring into space and muttering meaningless words. Kid walked over to him and crouched down. She grabbed him by the collar. She grabbed the him by the collar. She grabbed the him. I think there was some mistranslation issues here. By the collar and yelled at him, "Wakey, wakey, Granddad! We've got a few questions for you. Here, get an eyeful of this. Ring any bells, Kid waved the Acacian signet in his face, shaking him roughly all the while. The old man's head lolled as he limply allowed himself to be manhandled. I stepped between them and tried to stop her. I asked Magil to make Kid stop. I mean, we'll just do it ourselves, because I don't know, it just seems kind of weird to be like, oh, Magil, make her stop, when I'm standing right there. I tried to get between Kid and the old man. She glared at me. You're in the way, Serge. We're here for answers, remember? But if you really want to help him, you can't chicken out now. But look at him. There's no helping him anymore, surely. This all ended for him long ago. I would not be so certain. This is not over. It still means something. He has simply decided to pretend not to see it. Oh, okay. Yeah, but it's not over, you say? Struck by the man's sudden interruption, we all turned to look at him. A faint glimmer of light had returned to his once vacant eyes. That's right, none of this is over until we make Lynx pay. His eyes began to cloud once more. So my former allies have finally come for me. I am to blame. It is because of my indiscretion that the frozen flame was stolen, and that of all the Acacian dragoons, only I remain here in the manor. But now all is well, for you have returned. Okay, what is he talking about? Oh, Melgid, Zoranda, where have you been all this time? Did you all return to Lake Stoic? Okay, so Melgid and Zoranda, I think, became... I forgot his name, but Dario and Glenn's dad. And then maybe one of them was Dario? Never mind all that, Granddad. Where's the frozen flame? Give us a clue, anything. Come on, out with it. I couldn't decide if Kid sounded more annoyed or more desperate. A frozen flame? The old man looked momentarily confused, and then a wan smile crossed his face. A wan? Wan? I don't know how to pronounce that. My word, Lady Riddle, it has been far too long since last I had the pleasure. Why, you only need to turn the third candlestick from the left as you enter the main hall. That will open the underground vault, as you know. Okay, I'm gonna have to write this down. along with my right 3 times, left 2 times, right 2 times. Third candlestick from the left. In the main hall. Okay, so we do have to do something in the main hall. Because I've discovered the main hall, but we've never been able to do anything there. Kid wrapped her arms around the old man and held him tight. And then, in a trembling voice, she whispered, "I'm sorry. I promise we'll get it back." Ah, gah! The man recoiled in horror and then began to sob once more. "I'm to blame. It's all my fault. Forgive me. Forgive me." Look, if you want to get out of here, now's your chance. But it was no use. He was too busy cowering and wailing to heal me. Heal me. Heal me? Hear me. I really want to heal. Getting a heal is just on my mind, I guess. We're done here, Serge. We can't help him. And there's things we need to be doing. Thank you, I whispered to the old man before following Kid and Magil out of the dungeon. After making our way down the dark corridor, we came to a branch in the path. The path to the right would take us back to the atrium with the fountain. Going straight on would take us to some stairs going down. So I think I need to go back upstairs. Hey, how you doing this evening? Hey, Ben, I'm good. How are you? I uninstalled OBS, but I installed Streamlabs, the one that you're using for your live streams. Oh, okay, nice. Well, like, you know, from what I've heard from people, OBS is also good. I've just never used it, so, like, I just don't know, you know, how to work it. But Streamlabs I've found is pretty easy to use. But I hope that, you get Streamlabs working for you. Have you played around with it yet? Okay, so I think the main hall, I have to get back to the terrace. So I need to go back through the atrium. And then up the stairs, and then I think to the left. I think to the left of the terrace. Really? I have another random encounter? It better give me a heal after this. Okay, attack this time. Attack again. Okay, that one landed again. Okay, and then Kid's gonna do her final attack. Okay, so I don't think I took any damage. I mean, I couldn't have taken any damage because only one more hit and I die. Wait a second, what's that? There was a leather bag on the ground. Yes, they finally gave me a heal! What? Containing a sparkling gem? Wait a minute. That is not what I thought it was going to have. So usually they have, like, oh, there was a leather bag on the ground and it had some meat in it, and then that gives you a heal. Now we're talking. Kid's face lit up with joy. Nice find, Serge. What a beaut. Kid snatched it away, leaving me to settle for the compliment. Really? So I didn't even get a heal. Yes, I've played around with the settings and stuff, try to get my scenes and my transitions and my sources. I would like to be able to display web pages on my streams along with having the webcam. That's my ultimate goal, is to try and get my scenes and stuff and my transitions set up along with chat and alerts. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think they're pretty easy to set up, like, especially if you watch some YouTube videos on setting them up, and then eventually it'll just become like second nature to you. But I think so. If you want to display, so do you mean like by saying you want to display web pages? Do you mean like you want to show, like, kind of like a screen share, or like you want to display links. And so I don't think I have transitions yet even. I don't think I've bothered with those. But I would say like at first don't worry too much about like trying to put too much stuff in it, like transitions and like webcam borders and overlays and stuff. Just get used to like just get familiar with using Streamlabs. And then like even these like really gigantic streamers, like the top streamers, some of them like don't even have anything. Like they just have a camera and they don't have any overlays or anything. It's just like their camera doesn't even have a border. It's just like a square camera. So you could definitely make that work if you even if you like don't really put anything on your screen. Okay, well, didn't even get a heal, so all right, I'm gonna go upstairs. I guess I'll save. I mean, like I don't understand how I'm like how am I supposed to heal? Yeah, that's the clock tower. Okay, so I think if we keep going straight, we run into the main hall. Display web pages, like to view like text and video, like YouTube videos and clips on my streams. Okay. Okay, that should be easy enough. Like, so yeah, displaying a web page is just adding a source, and then if you want, but if you wanted to display like a text, like a link to something, well, it won't be like a link, but it'll just like show the viewer like a URL. Like you just have to add a text source. What's the treasure room? Oh, no. This is not the way. Okay, maybe it was the other corridor then. Or wait, was it downstairs? Okay, continue on. Follow the corridor. Oh, towards the main hall. Okay, continued onward toward the main hall. Can I use Chrome as my browser source? Thanks. I'm not sure. Actually, let me look. I think you can do like a specific website. Browser source. I don't know if you can, I don't know if you can do like just like a general browser, but you could do like a specific website, or you could do like a, oh, that's showing up on my stream. Or you could do like a window capture. So like no matter what you open on your computer, it'll show it on your stream. But I don't think you can do, I don't think you can do it that way. I don't think you can just do like Chrome. Okay, towards the main hall. Okay, I'm gonna save. Save here. Go inside. Looks like the coast is clear. We stepped into the main hall. Dozens of candles provided a dim flickering light, sending the corners of the room dancing in and out of shadow. The great hall was filled with a heavy silence. A silence unbroken save for the ticking of a large clock that slowly counted the passage of time, as if waiting for something. Perhaps we could get on a Discord call for Streamlabs? Several portraits glared down at us with cold eyes. We moved through the feeble glow of the candles. Third candlestick from the left, whispered Kid. Oh, Kid remembered for me. 1, 2, 3. There. She reached out towards it. I held my breath as I watched. Say your prayers, Lynx. We're coming for you. Kid turned the candlestick. The room trembled with a sudden rhythmic rumbling sound, as if a massive gear was turning. What's that? For a moment, I felt a strange sensation, as if I was floating. Do you feel that? I started to stagger. The entire room seems to be moving downward, came the reply from Magil. Yes, to help set up my Streamlabs, yes. Yeah, I mean, I honestly though, like, I don't even think you'll need me. It's pretty easy to set up. I'd say, like, if you just, like, play around with it and familiarize yourself with it, I don't even think that you'll need me. But, like, yeah, definitely let me know if you need more help. I couldn't quite believe it, but I also couldn't deny the feeling of downward motion. The main hall was sinking into the earth. And then another rumble. The room's descent rapidly accelerated. A cold sweat dripped from my back. My heart filled with a mixture of fear and anticipation. What was waiting for us down there? A frozen flame. Our prize at the end of this little adventure. But what was it, really? Would it live up to our expectations? I tightened my fists, which were slick with sweat. What were Kid and Magil thinking? The room remained veiled in silence. As if, in response to my thoughts, a quiet voice came from next to me. Sometimes it was Kid. I looked over to see her standing stiffly, staring forward with her hands clenched into fists. Oh, and another suggestion, Ben, is look up like lots of YouTube videos on Streamlabs. There's a lot of tutorials, and then I think like, cause like for me, like all I had to do really was just like get familiar with Streamlabs, and I think it's pretty easy to get used to. Sometimes I feel like I'm stuck in a losing battle, a fight I'll never win no matter what I do. It was a side of her I'd never witnessed before. Even from this angle, I could see fear and doubt flickering across her face. I felt a tender sting in my heart. What are you fighting? We'll win, I promise. What are you fighting? What are you fighting against? Good question. Fate, maybe? Life, even? Not sure I can put me finger on it exactly. It ain't Lynx. I mean, sure, I'm here to fight him, but that's different. It ain't clear-cut like that. I feel like there's another me inside me, one that's just sitting there, looking out at how empty and pointless everything I do is. That's the best way I can describe it, anyhow. Interesting. So, makes me feel like maybe at this point they did decide she was going to be Scala. Can't listen to me. Lot of bloody nonsense, eh? She smiled ruefully. I didn't know exactly what she meant, but I felt like I knew broadly what she was getting at. She may have talked tough, but underneath it all, she felt fear and uncertainty, just like the rest of us. I mean, that was no great I was trying to say revelation. Revelation in and of itself, but hearing her say it out loud gave me a strange sense of relief. I stole another sidelong glance at her. Her expression was different, more mature somehow. Sorry, mate, you didn't mean to hear that. Not exactly me trademark brand of carefree banter, eh? She stuck out her tongue. Normal service had been resumed. Or so it seemed for a second. Thanks, Serge. And you, Madge, she said, suddenly serious again. Aw, she thanked us. Couldn't have made it this far without you both. Listen, if we don't... After this, I mean, if we don't get another chance to... Huh? You know what? Forget it. She closed her eyes and forced a smile. I wasn't sure how to respond, so, true to form, I just stared at her some more. I could have sworn I caught a flicker of a grin cross Magel's face too. He was standing just at the edge of my field of vision, arms crossed and eyes closed. But maybe it was just my imagination. A contemplative silence descended as the hall continued its journey down into the bowels of the manor. A crash split the silence as if we'd collided with something. Scourge! A loud metallic scraping filled the air. The room rocked and finally came to a halt. ... Looks like the end of the line. All change. The swelling grandeur of the organ suddenly filled the air. No one had so much as touched it, and yet the keys and pedals were moving by themselves. Oh, creepy. It's one of those self-playing organs. The melody it played was both unsettling and sad. It sounds like the music you'd hear in like a vampire's castle. Funeral tune, is it? Way to greet your guests. Kid took a long stride forward, then turned to face me and Magil. Come on, let's go. Magil and I gently nodded our assent. Kid grinned, then turned back to the door. I'm coming for you, Lynx. This is the end for you. And with that, she led us from the hall. We continued down a long, dark corridor, the walls slick with condensation. The air was thick and heavy, as though ripe with the stench of death. Were we really getting close to Lynx's hidden vault at last? And was there any turning back now, for any of us? There was something strange about Kid that night. Magil didn't seem to be his usual self either. To begin with, it was vanishingly rare for him to speak so much, let alone to show any kind of emotion. What happened to make them change like that? Unable to take the silence anymore, I decided to speak. I had to ask the question that had been on my mind all this time. What is the frozen flame? Why do you want the frozen flame so badly? I feel like asking, why do you want the frozen flame so badly? Also covers, like, what is it? This song wasn't in Cross, right? I don't think so. Hey kid, why do you want the frozen flame so badly? All I got in reply was the cold echo of her footfalls. I should have known. Okay, so it doesn't seem like it mattered what I said there. She didn't like to talk about her reasons for doing things. After all, it was a topic that was likely to lead to discussion of her past. But then she spoke, though it was almost a whisper. I'm doing it for Sis. Before she died, she told me to find the frozen flame and bury it. Bury it where? Her old mate's grave. Her old mate's grave? Chrono? Kid looked at her feet as she walked. She wasn't me real sister, but she was as good as family to me. When she took me in, I was bloody helpless. Couldn't remember a thing, and I was barely old enough to survive on me own. She didn't go into too much detail about who her mate was. Best I can remember is that I needed to find the grave of a girl who married another mate of hers and died not long after. Marl! So she wants it to be buried at Marl's grave. She said that's where the frozen flame should be laid to rest, or something like that. To be honest, I wasn't paying much attention at the time. It's not like I could have known what was about to happen. When she disappeared and I realized she wasn't coming back though, I swore I'd make good on what she asked me to do. I'd nab the frozen flame from that rat bastard Lynx and get my revenge. Kid's eyes almost seemed to glow with heat in the cold night air. I'll make him pay for everything he's done, no matter what it takes, even if it kills me. And then she fell silent. Sorry, kid. I didn't mean to bring up something so painful. There was a pause before she replied. Nah, you're alright. I should have said something sooner, before I roped you into this. Sorry. Wow, this is a totally different kid than what we've been seeing. Silence reigned supreme as I fumbled around to try and find something to say in reply. But all that filled the darkness of the corridor was the sound of yet more footsteps. Suddenly, Magil stopped in his tracks. Wait! Huh? Kid turned around, puzzled. Just then, a powerful light surged across the floor, and a ring-shaped sigil appeared. Damn it, a blood circle. What is a blood circle? Kid and Magil were at least quick enough to try and jump clear. But they weren't quite quick enough. The three of us were trapped in a circle of blinding light. The sigil rotated left and right with us at the center, cutting off all routes of escape. Yeah, we're trapped! A wall of heat and wind blew up around us, and swirling lines and spirals of light assailed us wherever we turned. Don't let the light mesmerize you. Cover your eyes, shouted Magil, raising a hand over his mask. Turn with the light, not against it. There has to be a way out. What? I barely even understand what's going on. Kid's elbow brushed against the wall of light surrounding us, sending sparks flying. Ugh. Be careful. Merely to touch it is more than enough to harm you. Stay well back. I slowly turned my body to follow the movements of the ring of light, looking for a gap to escape through. Oh! This is where the Griffin's instructions. Okay, right 3 times. I turn right 3 times. 3 steps to the right. There, I see it. That's our way through. Okay, left 2 times and then right 2 times. I found a gap in the wall of light and carefully walked through it. Kid, Magil, this way! We managed to get through the barrier unscathed. But we weren't out of the woods yet. There was still another wall of light swirling with a great wind in front of us. Okay, so I'm assuming the one in the bright blue on the right is Magil. And then the one in front is Kid with the braid. So Surge is the one on the left. And he looks totally different than he does in Chrono Cross. Okay, so left 2 times. I turn left twice. 2 steps to the left. There, I see it. That's our way through. I found a gap in the wall of light and carefully walked through it. Kid, Magil, this way. We managed to get through the barrier unscathed. But we weren't out of the woods yet. There was still another wall of light swirling with a great wind in front of us. I slowly turned my body to follow the movements of the ring of light, looking for a gap to escape through. And then we do right 2 times. I turned right twice. 2 steps to the right. There, I see it. That's our way through. I found a gap in the wall of light and carefully walked through it. Kid, Magil, this way. So how does that Griffin know this? And wouldn't it make sense, like, if it's a trap, then links should change the amount of times that you go left and right. Like, he should change it, like, every day. Just in case, like, somebody finds it and figures out how to get past it. Suddenly, my body felt light, and I staggered 2 or 3 steps forward. We were back in the deserted passageway we'd been walking down before the blood circle had appeared. The sigil had vanished from the floor, and everything was silent, as if nothing had ever been amiss. And then I looked up. Looks like we finally made it, boys. Kid strolled up to the door with a wicked grin on her face. Okay, so it's a good thing I released the mouse then. / Griffin. Because when you find the mouse in the kitchen, it asks you to free it. And it's like, please, please, will you free me? My mother is sick, and like gives you a sob story. So I'm like, okay, I'll free it. It also said something like, oh, but there's an evil glint in its eyes. But I was like, okay, I'll free it. And then it turned into a griffin, and it was like, haha, sucker. My mother's not sick. I'm going to eat you. And I was like, that was the wrong choice. But then in another twist, then it just collapsed, and it was like, oh, I'm so hungry, I'm too weak to fight, please don't attack me and I'll give you some information. And then that's when it told me how to get out of that blood circle. So, kind of a crazy turn of events, huh? The true frozen flame awaits. Magil's eyes gave a glint from behind his mask, like glass catching moonlight in the darkness of the night. Let's go! Kid reached for the handle. So this is the place, huh? Kid narrowed her eyes, straining to see our surroundings in the darkness. A vast pitch-black expanse surrounded us whichever way we looked. It was as if we'd entered an impossibly vast cave. Is that the real frozen flame? Because it looks just like the fake one. I mean, I guess if it's the fake one, it should look like it. We were in a place forgotten by time, unknown to the world, hidden deep within the bowels of night. I guess I just thought, like, maybe the real frozen flame looked like the one in Chrono Cross. A gentle crimson light hovered in the darkness. The frozen flame. Alright, now it's ours. The light of the flame ebbed and waned gently, as if responding to Kid's voice. What the heck is this place? There's mountains of bloody rubble everywhere. Nigel took a step further into the room and said in a whisper that was almost a groan, "No, it can't be." Ah, but it is. The ruins of the lost kingdom of mages. The voice drifted down through the darkness from above. The ruins of the lost kingdom of mages. Do they mean Zeal? Kid looked up in shock. Lynx! I'll kick your fleepin' arse so hard you'll kiss the moon. Okay, so that's something she still says in Cross. Kid pulled her knife from her belt and threw it as hard as she could. It fell to the floor with a clang, as if knocked out of the air by some unseen hand. Still the same impetuous child as ever, I see. That's no way to greet an old friend. Smarmy bastard. Kid gritted her teeth with rage. And you, Shadow Dweller, I'll have none of your tricks this time. You must think me a fool if you believe I'll fall for that again. Magil, who had been quietly slipping into the darkness that surrounded us, stopped dead in his tracks. So this was the infamous Lynx. Oh. Doesn't look like the Lynx from Chrono Cross at all. The Lord of this deadly manor. So, Riddle kind of looked like Princess Peach, and then Lynx kind of looks like Luigi with like the really long mustache. Oh, but you know who he reminds me even more of? Jafar from Aladdin. The man who had murdered the closest thing Kid had to family, who had assassinated General Viper and eradicated the Order of the Acacia Dragoons. A pleasure as always, my dear Kid. And I must say, you followed the trail of breadcrumbs I laid for you admirably closely, my greedy little sneak thief. What the bloody... She stepped forward, bristling. Oh, I can't save. Oh, I can't save! Now this feels weird, not being able to save. I guess, at this point, you're not allowed to save anymore. Or during the scene. Because there have been a few times where it doesn't let me save, but only during, like, a certain part. And, like, they don't let you save during, like, battles or random encounters. I guess that makes sense. Lynx narrowed his eyes as his lips twisted into a snarl. You know what I want, Kid. Give me the stone you carry. The stone? Did Kid have some kind of jewel I didn't know about? I guess so. Pet, don't know what you're on about, mate. She just about managed to recover her composure, narrowing her eyes scornfully at her old foe. Spare me the act, child. I know you have it. I know that you have it. I know she gave it to you. Hand over the time egg, now. Oh, the time egg. The what? Whatever it was, I'd never heard of it. You're dreaming if you think I'll give it to the likes of you, Kid shot back. It's all I have left of her. I'll never let go of it, not for anyone and definitely not for you. I'll tell you what's gonna happen, you bastard. First I'm gonna take the frozen flame, and then I'm gonna ram it down your throat. Incorrigible young fool. I was hoping this might be a civilized exchange. Alas, it seems my words will only fall on deaf ears, and you are determined to repeat your past errors. Lynx moved his hand to the grip of the ornate golden saber that hung from his belt. Last time I showed you mercy and let you leave with your life. That was a mistake, one which I mean to correct. Surge, Magil, stay back. Kid took a step forward, glaring at Lynx, her gaze unflinching. This ends here and now. You'll pay for what you've done. You'll pay for what you did to Luca. With a scream, Kid leapt into the air like a bird taking flight. Her foot lashed out in a scything kick aimed right at the side of Lynx's head. But there was no contact. Where Lynx had been mere moments before, now there's only empty space. Kid landed and immediately launched herself back into the air, putting the full force of her momentum into another kick. This time, Lynx leaned back, letting Kid's foot swing past only a hair's breadth from his nose. And then it was Lynx's turn. He lashed out with his saber, carving an arc through the air in front of him. Kid was ready for him, however, and had already jumped back to a safe distance. The two glared at each other from mere footsteps apart. At least you had the decency to prepare a little better than last time, Lynx purred. A red line appeared on Kid's cheek, slowly coalescing into a drop of blood. Kid! In a flash, she launched herself into yet another attack. Lynx dodged to the side, then made to strike her with the hilt of his saber. Kid moved awkwardly to avoid the attack, losing her footing, and then Lynx was on her like a bird of prey before she could fully recover. This escalated quickly. Yeah, it really did. There was a gasp and a cough as Lynx drove his knee into the pit of her stomach. Kid collapsed. A steady stream of red dripped from her lips. Will that be all, girl? Lynx gave Kid a merciless kick to the side, sending her flying. She landed on a pile of rubble, her body rolling until she hit a large stone pillar. And there she lay, lifelessly still. Kid! Kid! I screamed her name as I charged toward Lynx. But Magil was there already. He flew through the darkness, a part of the shadows, before crashing down on Lynx like a bolt from the blue. Lynx jumped back, and countless threads of light flew from his fingertips towards Magil. Huh? With a droning hum, threads of light surrounded Magil, crossing over one another. They spread to form a lattice of light that gave off a blinding glare, and trapped Magil where he stood. What is this? Magil staggered and groaned, attempting to shield his eyes with his hands. It is a simple enough spell, my shadowy friend. For those inclined to learn it, and one which, sadly for you, leaves no darkness in which to hide. Lynx leered at Magil with a venomous grin. You've been quite the thorn in my side. I'll let you live long enough to regret it. Magil struggled and groaned. I had to do something. Kid and Magil needed me. But what was I going to do? Challenged Lynx. I ran to Magil. I ran to Kid. Okay, it didn't give me enough time. Lynx had started making his way over to Kid while I was paralyzed with indecision. What's the matter, Kid? You were bold? You were so bold only a moment ago. Aren't you going to keep me entertained? Lynx looked down his nose at Kid's broken body. Now, do you want to give me the time egg? We can still be civilized about this. I am, of course, a gentleman, and it pains me to have to seize a fair maiden's valuables by force. Even if the fair maiden in question is in fact a filthy street rat. He pressed his foot into Kid's head. I could hear her voice, faint and breathless. It's Luca's stone, not yours. I'll never give it to anyone. And no way will I give it to the likes of you. Couldn't let him get any closer to her, but what was I going to do? Run to Kid. Kid! I ran over to where she lay. I mean, she's the one that needs help right now since Lynx is over there. She was flat out, still collapsed where she had fallen, and blood still ran from her mouth. Kid, say something! I crouched down next to her, glancing at her face in a panic. She groaned, and then she began to stir, her face twisted with pain. Surge! It's okay, Kid, I'm here. How touching. Although I would be more concerned about my own well-being if I were you. The voice came from behind me. It felt as if ice water had been poured down my neck. I jumped to my feet and turned around. Lynx was looking down at me with a cold, emotionless stare. Any friends of Kid's is certainly no friend of mine. Forgive me, but I cannot permit you to leave this place alive. Before I realized it, his hand had shot out toward me. His claw-like fingers clamped around my throat. I couldn't breathe. Tightening his grip, Lynx lifted me bodily. I don't know if that's correct. Like, grammatically correct. Until my feet were dangling in the air. I could feel his talons mercilessly digging deeper and deeper into my neck. Panic filled my mind. I couldn't speak. All I could do was make strange strangle noises with my throat. And then I heard the crunching sound of my neck finally snapping. Okay, I guess I died. So maybe running to Kid was the wrong choice? Okay, I saved like a while ago, so I think at this point I was still trying to go to the main hall. Okay. Okay, so I can't save. I can't save here. So I think this is the start of like where you can't save anymore. So we're just gonna skip all this because we just went through this. So maybe this is the end then, because I can't save anymore. But this does give me a chance to make different choices. So I can ask Kid different things than what I did before. We'll win, I promise. Because last time I said, what are you fighting? There's nothing to worry about. Will win in the end, I promise. Heck, Drongo. She gave a gentle smile. Can't promise anything in this world, Surge. There are no guarantees. But thanks anyway. She grinned again, seeming a little embarrassed, then looked me straight in the eye. And then I had the strangest sensation. This wasn't Kid. Or not the only Kid, anyway. I was overwhelmed by the inexplicable oddness of the idea. She noticed immediately, of course, and our little moment was over. The Kid I knew was back in the room. Trying to catch flies, mate? Sorry. It's just that for a moment there, it felt like you were someone else. What are you on about? Kid gave me a confused look, tilting her head. It must be because we are drawing near to the frozen flame. Magel's voice, as soft as ever, slipped unbidden from the shadows. What the heck are you two on about? Kid turned towards him with another puzzled frown. There's another self within you, struggling against the pull of the abyss. But what had she been talking about? A crash split to silence, as if we'd collided with something. Okay, I think... Is this where I ran into the sigil? The blood circle, or whatever? Oh, and then this time I can say, what is the frozen flame? Because last time I asked, why do you want the frozen flame so badly? What is the frozen flame? Is the frozen flame really just a jewel? There's only silence in return. And then, when it seemed like no one would reply at all, Magel spoke. His low voice echoed in the corridor. It is a sacred stone that cures all ills, heals all wounds, and grants eternal life. Okay, like the Philosopher's Stone from Harry Potter. Or Sorcerer's Stone. I don't know why I said Philosopher's Stone, because the Sorcerer's Stone is like the North American version, and that's the one that I read. The Philosopher's Stone is like the UK version. Or so some still believe. In truth, it is part of a tremendous rock that fell from the skies long, long ago. That rock was the source of a hitherto unknown power, with which mankind's hidden potential was unlocked. Okay, so they always did mean it to be a part of Lavos. You could say it was humanity's dreams made manifest. But it is not always good to have one's dream come true. Many were bewitched by that great power. Some were led astray by it. It even led to a kingdom's ruin. A kingdom once prosperous, yet now little more than fragments and dust, its name lost to history. For a moment, I thought I heard a hint of pain and sadness in Madge's voice, but maybe it was just my nerves. Wait, how do you know all this, Magel? He said nothing. He only stared at me with his piercing dark eyes, and then continued onward in silence. He knows 'cause he's Magus! For a while, only the sound of footsteps echoed in the corridor. And then, Kid gave a doubtful humph. Look, I don't know if all that stuff about the frozen flame is true or not. It's neither here nor there to me. She raised a fist. We're here to settle the score with Lynx by nicking the thing. That's all I know, and that's all I want to know. What had Lynx seen in the frozen flame? Why had it been worth risking so much for? For one reason or another, my mind was drawn back to the strange painting in the study. A black jewel with a burning red flame inside it. Was that really what it looked like? But what was the meaning of that strange depiction of a world where everything was melting and blending together? We trudged on down the dark passageway, each of us alone with our thoughts. Okay, so I guess that painting... Like, I remember Serge talking about that painting, and I was wondering if it was, like, the dimensional void that you go to when you first switch bodies with Lynx. But I think it's just representing, like, all the different timelines in Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross. Concentrating on my footsteps lessened the burden of my worry somewhat, and I felt a renewed vigor, to a degree. Suddenly, Magel stopped in his tracks. Wait! Huh? Kid turned around, puzzled. Just then, a powerful light surged across the floor. Okay, yeah, so this is the trap again. Alright, let's open my notes again. Write 3 times. Okay, write 3 times. And then left twice. And then right 2 times. Okay, I feel like they should let you save, like, maybe right before this part, because then I just have to, like, keep going through the trap if I die again. Okay, so clearly running to Kid was not the right choice. Maybe... Okay, so this time I'm gonna go to Magel. Okay, that's gotta be Magus, because they're definitely talking about Zeal, and Magus is, like, really upset. Okay, oh, you know what I just realized? So, Ricardo, if you're still here, this says, the man who had murdered the closest thing Kid had to family who had assassinated General Viper. So, Viper's dead, but he still took Riddle in for some reason, and, like, took care of her. I mean, she seems to have, like, I mean, I guess she's, like, trapped and she's, like, not happy, but she seems to be, like, taken care of and she's not, like, abused. Okay, we're gonna skip all this. Okay, so this time, go to Madgel. Ran to Madgel's side. Madge, are you okay? Leave me, you fool. You need a help kid. He groaned and grimaced with pain, a web of light holding him mercilessly in place. I heard a scream from behind me. Go to her, Surge, now. Delay any longer and you will regret it forever. He looked me dead in the eye. Do not make the same mistake I once made. You must protect her. That is definitely Magus. He's talking about Scala. Okay, but I did do that last time. I went to Kid last time and I died. I gave him a silent nod and got back to my feet, then turned toward Lynx and Kid. Okay, I guess we'll try it again. Okay, the same thing is happening, so I think I just died again. Oh, wait a minute. Is this different? Look, kid, see your friend. See him suffer. This is your doing. This is your hand around his neck. Kid's breathing was ragged and blood still dripped from her lips. Opening an eye, she groggily raised her head. Magus not being able to save his loved ones again. I know, right? I mean, not like Magus, you know, he's pretty awful when you first meet him, but it's kind of like no wonder, you know, like look what he's been through. But she couldn't get up. She didn't have the strength. Surge, give me the time egg. Do you even know what it is? I suspect not. Think of it as a concentrated pocket of space. Okay, so this is different than what happened last time. With the frozen flame and the time egg in hand, one can bend the fabric of space and time and rewrite the past. There are errors that I mean to correct, mistakes in the past that must be set right. Lynx's narrow, emotionless eyes return to my face. How long before he perishes, I wonder? I struggled to breathe, but could only make choking sounds. Kids scream my name. Decide, will you watch the boy die or relent? Does his life mean nothing to you? I can't! She balled her hands into fists and dropped her gaze. My vision started to fade. And then I heard her voice as she struggled to speak through the pain. I'm sorry, Surge, but I swore I'd sacrifice anything to stop Lynx. Don't worry about me, give him the time egg. Don't worry about me, we'll be a hero. Don't worry about me. It was all I could do to force the words out past Lynx's icy grip. Why doesn't she just pretend to give him the time egg? Or, like, give it to him, and then, like, immediately attack him? Like, just fake it until he drops Surge. I was starting to black out. Was this really how it was going to end? Ah, for crying out loud. Fine, you win. Here, have your damn rock. Lynx's grip on my throat loosened. Groaning with pain, Kid reached a shaky hand into her shirt. Wow, look at Kid. Saving me. I knew you would come around in the end. Lynx threw my body to the ground, then walked over towards her. Just shut up and take it, you bastard. It's all you deserve. With all the strength she could muster, Kid lashed out at Lynx with her right hand. Gah! He leapt back in a desperate attempt to evade the blow. But it was too late. Kid's nails, sharp as a cat's claws, raked mercilessly into his face. Lynx roared with pain. He staggered, clutching his left eye. Blood oozed through the gaps in his fingers. You wretched little chit of a girl! Lynx stood awkwardly, still clutching at the wound on his face. The fingers of his free hand arched into furious talons as he walked back toward Kid, who still lay on the ground. I will kill you all! He kicked her hard, concentrating all his wrath and venom into the blow. Kid gasped as all the wind was knocked out of her, yet more blood ran from her mouth as her body rolled across the floor. Kid, I yelled hoarsely, clutching my burning throat with one hand. Lynx turned his head slowly to look at me, one eye fixing on me coldly as it came into view. He took a step towards me. Yes, perhaps it would be better to start with you. My dear Kid, rest assured that your friend's death will be a most elaborate and painful one. You will truly know what it means to suffer, boy. I will put you through the same suffering as I did with that Luca woman. Kid's body stirred with shock and horror. Her eyes slowly opened, fixing on Lynx. They were wild eyes, stained with the blood that poured from her brow. Gritting her teeth, she staggered to her feet. Lynx! Lynx! And then an explosion of light burst forth from the frozen flame. Another light began to form from somewhere near Kid's chest, resonating with the light from the frozen flame. The twin lights entwined, twirling slowly upward. What is happening? As I rose, the golden spiral spread. No, it can't be! Lynx stood motionless, transfixed by the spectacle. Was this the time egg's power? Kid screamed as a raging blaze of light engulfed her. I'll never let you do it again. I'll never let you steal from me again. Bathed in the glow, her body shook. Blood-red tears dripped from her eyes as they took on a distant look. And then she collapsed on the ground, to the ground, as if all the life had gone out of her. What? What is happening? I heard a voice. It was quiet and still, like the evening. It has come to pass. Kid is retracing her lost memories back through time, back to the Lost Kingdom. Like she's got Scala's memories? It was through her power that the kingdom fell, that it was swallowed in the all-encompassing vortex of time. In her grief, she wished to disappear. Her past, her future, she wanted it all to sink into the void, to be lost in the seething whirl of time. She despised what she had done. She closed herself off from all that she saw and heard, and cursed her very existence. But the stone wished for her to live. The hands of her clock were rewound, her memories unraveled. The stone gave her a chance to begin again. The stone had both the power and the will to bring all this about. Sinking through the sea of time, she drifted here, a mere babe, her memories a blank slate. The time egg shattered, its fragments raining down on the world, becoming shards of sorrow and anguish. Okay, so if I'm understanding this correctly, Scala... So Kid is not like Scala's clone in this. She's like... Scala was like returned to being a baby, and that's who Kid is. So Kid is like OG Scala. The world around us drifted into pieces. It swallowed us, engulfed us. We were consumed, locked into the void. And then a girl's scream echoed in the darkness. That voice, was that Kid? It sounded just like... No, this is all wrong. The black vortex that surrounds us. No, stop! Where am I? I've lost everything, and now I can but wander. The world drifts, and time is a blur. There's only an endless, unknowable sea. This is where time begins and ends. This is where all life finds peace. Oh, dinosaurs! I see myself as a baby, crying next to my mother, an exhausted yet proud look upon her face. I see myself aged and wizened, waiting to succumb to death's embrace with a smile. I see countless incarnations of myself. Incarnations? That's not the right word, is it? No, it is the right word. Walking time's intricate corridors as ghosts. This is a place where countless worlds overlap and infinite dreams play out. If only I could rest here for eternity. If only I could free myself of all my burdens and sleep here in the sea of dreams. Okay, why did that text fade so fast? I hear it calling me. I hear the song. Kid! Kid, please! Can you hear me? Kid! Kid, say something! Kid, you've got to stay with me! Who's that? Who's calling me? Surge? Where am I? Kid? Kid, you're awake! I heard a song. It was beautiful. It was that song that Luca loved. Kid closed her eyes, and her face glowed with a warm smile. I'll never forget that song. Makes me want to cry whenever I hear it. I'm just glad you're back. It felt like I was losing you, like you were going somewhere far, far away. Before I knew it, I was humming the song for you. I don't know if I ever mentioned it, but I wrote it when I first started out as a musician. I knew you liked it, so Kid gave a gentle nod. It was you. You were the one who called me back. That was you calling me name. Thanks, Surge. It's okay. It's okay now. I'm back. Suddenly, she gasped with pain. Lynx's saber had plunged deep into her right shoulder. And towering over us was Lynx himself. I told you, Kid. I told you I would kill you. She had no strength left to fight. What was I going to do? Tackle Lynx. Damn you! I charged toward him with all the strength I had left. It's quite enough, brat. Lynx lashed out at me with his saber. Arg! I staggered and collapsed to the ground. But what about Kid? Was she okay? I looked desperately around to find her, my eyes clouded with pain. Alas, your time has come. He raised his saber high, preparing to strike. Enough. Stunned, we looked toward the intruder. You! There stood an old crone, her wizened features obscured by a heavy hood. How had she made it all the way down here? Lady Vera? And what have we done to bring Poor's Magister General running, I wonder, he growled. It's been far too long, Lord Lynx. A pity I seem not to have caught you at your best. The crone met Lynx's mad stare head-on. I will take the frozen flame. After all, it seems you two have been quite unable to decide which of you should have it. She raised a hand, and armed soldiers poured into the room. Madra lifted Kid to her feet. This seems like a good time to leave. Lynx snarled. You'll regret this, witch! He kicked off from the floor, and his body rose into the air. Then he turned his venomous glare on us. And you, Kid, you'll pay for this with your life soon enough. You will never be safe from me. With that, he disappeared like a puff of smoke. The crone lingered for a moment, her eyes resting on us. Kid, if you wish to try and steal the frozen flame again, You are welcome to try anytime you please. We'll be waiting. But you'll have to get out of here alive first. The soldiers drew their weapons and fell upon us. Darkness, heed my call. With Kid slumped against him, Magil spread his arms and drew a sigil in the air. Hurry, Surge! This way! I grabbed onto him and we plunged into blackness. Okay. Lots of stuff happened just then. Thanks to Magil's magic, we managed to escape the manor alive. But the lights of torches dotted the forest, and we could hear soldiers calling to one another. We stopped briefly in the darkness of the woods, and Kid leaned heavily on a tree, desperately trying to quiet her ragged breathing. It was the terrible wound she'd suffered, and it seemed to be taking its toll. Are you okay, Kid? Yeah, don't worry about me, mate. We're surrounded. It won't be long before they find us, said Magil, his eyes cautiously scanning the area. Kid raised her head to look at me. It's me and Magil they want. Get out of here, Surge. It's us they want, not you. What are you saying? I'm not leaving you here. Look at you, you can barely stand. It's nothing I can't handle, and besides, I've got Magil with me. If they catch you with us, they won't go easy on you. But... I remembered everything. I remembered another me, a me from a long, long time ago. Slowly, Kid averted her gaze, looking up at the night sky. I have to go. Excuse me. The stars reflected in her eyes, and suddenly she looked like nothing more than an ordinary young girl with a sad, distant expression on her face. Kid! Don't worry, Surge, I'm okay. We'll meet again. Kid smiled. We'll meet again, somewhere, someday, sometime. Promise. Oh, sometime. Her eyes closed gently. I didn't manage to nick the frozen flame in the end, and I lost the time egg too, the only thing I had left of Luca's. But it's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. There's something inside me that shines brighter than any stupid jewel. The most important thing in the world. She opened her eyes again and fixed them on me. I could have lost myself in their depths forever. No one can take it from me, not for as long as I live. There's nothing else in the world I wanted but this. I doubted I'd ever want anything again. I only wanted this moment. All the clocks in the world could have stopped right now, right then and there for all I cared. Okay, this is starting to sound like a bad romance novel. And that is exactly what I wished for as I gazed at her. Goodbye, Surge, and thanks. She looked down, then turned away and disappeared into the darkness of the night. Would I ever see her again? Oh, you will. Kid! Don't follow me, Surge. Please, just don't. I strained to try and catch a glimpse of her as the last traces of her shadow vanished toward a place I might never reach again. Okay, wait a minute. You know what I just thought of? Surge, at the beginning of the game, said that he's known Kid for 3 years, so he met her when she was 13. But he was a musician. But it sounds like he likes her. I don't know, Surge is starting to sound kind of creepy in this game. No, Kid! I leapt to my feet, meaning to chase after her, but a shadow soon blocked my path. Magil? Without saying a word, he slowly shook his head. Behind the mask, I saw sadness in his eyes. Then the shadow withdrew and melted into the darkness. Magil? Kid? Wait, don't leave me. I screamed into the night, but there was no reply. The black silence swallowed my cries. Kid! Kid! Is this the end? Alright, well that was kind of depressing. Call the police. I mean, like, so... Okay, hold on. And so ends another tale. Perhaps one day I'll see Kid, Magil, and Riddle again. One day. Somewhere, at another time, in another world. Perhaps none of us will even realize it. But that's a story for another day. For now, I must put down my pen. Well, I mean, Serge said at the beginning of the game that he had been like a musician wandering around when he met Kid, and then I closed my grandfather's diary, and then from downstairs I heard my mother calling. Did you hear me? Your friend's here. Nimble footsteps charged up the stairs. The door flew open. In tumbled a young girl. A girl who seemed somehow familiar. Hey Serge, it's a beautiful day for a veteran. I found a rundown old manor off in the woods to the north. You want to go exploring? Come on, put the book down and let's get out there. So the one reading the diary is Serge also. Well, Romeo and Juliet were super young too. Juliet was like 12, so in medieval times this was fairly common, but still creepy. Yeah. I mean, so, like, Serge said he was a musician just wandering around when he met Kid, but then he said he'd known her for 3 years. But, like, if he was already a musician when he met her, he must have already been an adult. And then later in the game he said, like, oh, she wasn't even 17 yet. Like, oh, she was just a few months shy of being 17. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like Japanese games, like, they can, like, tend to be that way. Because, like, okay, so in Phoenix Wright, which, great games, by the way. I love those games. But in one of the cases, there was, like, a 30-something-year-old guy who was going to propose to, like, a 16-year-old girl. He was, like, in love with, like, a 16-year-old and was going to propose to her. And yeah, the end of this game's story definitely went places, right? So I'm wondering if this is supposed to be like an alternate timeline then to like Chrono Cross. So they did not translate the credits. Also, wow, you've already beaten all of Chrono's games. Congrats, thank you. So I do want to go back and challenge Lynx in that final battle. Was incredible to experience this game for the first time in your stream. I'm really glad that you enjoyed it, Ricardo. I'm glad you got to see it. What did you think of it? Doesn't seem like I could skip the credits. Okay, so while I wait for the credits to roll, I'm gonna look up, because I think I heard somewhere, or read somewhere, not heard, but read somewhere, that, oh, I guess I can't. Okay. I have to, like, make the game active. So I guess I'll look it up on my phone. I think I read somewhere that, there's different endings to this game, too. Okay, so there are different endings. Interesting. Finn. Oh, it even tells you. Wait, continue? Oh, I think this is just starting over. Okay, I don't want to do that. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Okay, I'm gonna reload my last save. Oh, I just saved over it. I don't see myself playing it, to be honest, but the writing was great, and I do love the fact that you are exploring a manor. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely no, like, Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross, you know? Okay, well, you know what? I only, like, that... Oh, wait. Why does this have, like, a symbol on it? Is this, like, a New Game Plus? Okay, well, the save I had before that was only, like, 2 minutes before, so we'll just go to that one. The game's director did say that Square didn't give him the time to finish the game, so that a lot of things got cut near the end. Okay, that makes sense, because it definitely does seem that way. So, I mean, I thought maybe this was, like, what they meant for Chrono Cross to be, but then they decided to, like, change some stuff, but I think it's actually supposed to be, like, an alternate timeline, just like another, you know, timeline in the world of Chrono. Because they keep talking about, like, time and, like, oh, I'll see you on another time. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm just going to quickly go in and see what happens if I challenge Lynx. And then I'm gonna end the stream. And then after that, I'm gonna look up how to get the other endings. And I may do another stream, some more, or I don't know if I can get them all in one stream, but I think I will, or I don't know. I mean, it depends on how much work it is to like get the other endings. But I may do some more streams to get the other endings. Okay, while this is going through, I'm gonna look at my phone. Okay, so 7 endings, that's what the game told us. There were 7 endings. Okay, I'll just look that up later. And then if it is too much work to like get all the endings, then I just won't play it again. And I'm not sure what else I'll play. I was thinking about playing Chrono Trigger. Okay, now I have to go through the trap again. Okay, gotta look this up again. Right 3 times, left 2, right 2. Okay, so right 3 times. Left twice. Right 2 times. Okay, I'm probably gonna have to go through like a lot of dialogue before I get to that choice. Oh, I have a feeling it's going to play out the same, like no matter what choice I do, but I just want to see what happens. Okay, so I guess I didn't really register this the first like 3 times I went through this, but the manor is on top of Zeal. That's pretty crazy. So it was all part of his plan, huh? So he could get the time egg from Kid. It's like, do you ever think about how the people in the Chrono games have these like crazy elaborate plans? It's like there's so much that could go wrong, like so much. Like if I just plan one thing, then like everything goes wrong. I can't even like, I don't even know how like all this stuff like goes according to plan. Like Balthazar, like, okay, like everything that happened in Chrono Cross was according to Balthazar's plan. And I'm like, there's so much that could go wrong. Because that plan is insanely complicated. Okay, here we go. Challenge Lynx. I charged the Lynx. I screamed as I rushed toward Kid's nemesis, and then in one fluid motion, he spun around to face me, lashing out with his saber. I tried my best to dodge the blow, but the blade sliced into my body. Arrgh! I collapsed in a heap and rolled down onto the rubble. It was all over. I lay face down, clutching at my wound. I could hear Kid groaning as I felt myself sinking into a bottomless darkness. Wow, that was it, huh? Really? I just died? So I went through that whole thing again just to die. It's fine. Okay, well, you know what? I am gonna end it here. So we did get through the game tonight, which I thought that I would, but, you know, you never know with Chrono games. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna end it here, and then, like I said, I am going to look up, I'm gonna look up how to get the other endings, and if it's not, like, an insane amount of work, like, you know, with the Chrono Cross endings, then I might do some more streams and get the other endings. And if it is too much work, then I'll just choose something else to play. Maybe Chrono Trigger, since, you know, I'm on a whole Chrono theme now. Plus, it's just a really good game, and I miss playing it. So, alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I don't know when I'll be streaming next, because I think I might take a break from streaming this weekend so I can record another video. We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling. I haven't put out a video in a while though, and I want to start working on some more videos, so we'll see. I will tweet about it and put it in Discord and all of that, and, you know, like, if you see me online, feel free to come by. More experimenting with Streamlabs. Nice! I mean, Streamlabs is, like, honestly, it's, like, really easy to use. I think you'll get the hang of it really quickly, Ben. Alright guys, thank you so much for hanging out and watching. Have a great night, and I will see you in the next video or stream. Bye!